Hello everyone and welcome to Thoughts and Review for a pay-per-view, and this time we're doing AEW Full Gear, and that took place, it finished about half an hour ago, roughly, not even, maybe, I don't know, but it's only just finished. I'll try and get this video up as quick as possible. Um, so, we'll start on the pre-show, I guess. Well, actually, I should probably talk about the show first. So the show was actually really, really good. I mean, when you looked at the card, you wouldn't expect it to have been shit. But yeah, no, it was a really, really good card. Obviously, AEW suffers with their women's division in that nobody really cares about it, same as WWE, same as most, because nobody does anything good with their women's divisions. Impact probably has the strongest women's division. When I watch that, I sort of get vested in that, but AEW, it's a struggle too because they don't dedicate too much time to it, and neither does WWE. But when you turn on WWE, you go, right, who is in it? Bayley, Sasha, Asuka, and some other people. Becky comes back and Charlotte comes back, and all that. But they also don't book it properly. But yeah, so the low points of the show were the women's matches, but they were still really, really good if you just take them as a match. So yeah, it was as a match they were really, really good. I couldn't really care any less about them, but yeah. So we'll start on the pre-show with Serena Deeb defending the NWA Women's Championship against Allison Kay. Serena Deeb won. She won by submission. Yeah, it was cool. It was a decent match. And in the end, well, after the match, I should say, Thunder Rosa came down and looks like she wants the NWA Women's title match. Another thing that I didn't realise was that Allison Kay is actually no longer signed to NWA, so this match was obviously Serena Deeb winning. So, yeah. As soon as I found that out, it made me care about it a whole lot less. However, I do want to see NWA and AEW sort of come together. We will get to some more things in a little bit. But I'd also like to see like New Japan and AAA and all that come together as well, just to form this one big, massive sort of group that, talent can just go back and forth between the companies. That would be cool. It would open up a whole lot of options. And I think that if that was to happen, WWE should look out. But yeah, so that was the pre-show. I should also mention my picks were Serena Deeb, Kenny Omega, Orange Cassidy, Cody Rhodes, Hikaru Shida, Young Bucks, Matt Hardy, Chris Jericho, and Jon Moxley. That is the order of the matches too. So, but yeah, so that was the pre-show. Then we get to the main show, and obviously we had Kenny versus Hangman. Really, really good match. Kenny Omega won, so I'm now on 2 points. Keep that in mind. Yeah, it was. I didn't think that Hangman was going to win. There was no doubt that Omega was winning. But yeah, it was still a really, really good match, obviously, with the two people involved. Then we had Orange Cassidy versus John Silver. It was another good match. Orange was not going to lose either. So for me, that was an easy pick. John Silver, though, he could be a big star one day. Then Darby versus Cody for the TNT title. Darby won. It was really, really good. And surprisingly, Darby won. Now, I say that, but I was always sort of thinking Cody's going to win. And then I sort of watched the video package for it, and I went, Cody's not winning. He's not winning. And then he did, and I went, well, obviously, duh. But yeah, it was just a really, really good match. Then we had Shida versus Nyla. good match, I guess. I didn't really care. Um, it was decent. I watched it and I went, cool. That was a match, and Sheeta won. Um, the big story through this thing was that Nyla was working Sheeta's leg, and yeah, in the end, it didn't help her. So yeah. Then we got the World Tag Team title match. FTR defending against the Young Bucks. And Tully was banned from ringside if the Bucks lost. Can't challenge for the belts again. And the Bucks won, obviously. Because that was another thing. They said that they're going to not challenge for the belts again if they lose. Of course they're winning. So they did. It was another really, really good match. I think I've found the problem with AEW matches, though. In that, especially with this match, it was too long and stretched out to sort of keep my attention. Because it was just very long, and I just sort of went, yeah. Sort of halfway through, I went, okay, now they're just sort of doing stuff. And then it's picked up towards the end, like obviously you sort of build, and then you stop, and then you build to the end. But the middle part is just so long with not a lot happening. Like, that's where you sort of put a few big spots in just to sort of keep everyone's attention. AEW doesn't do that. They don't. The middle of the match is usually just stuff's happening. They're just flipping everywhere, hitting things, doing shit. And like a big spot is, it just doesn't really happen. But it was still a really, really good match. But yeah, I just sort of went, oh, how long is this going for? So yeah, Bucks won. It was good. Post-match, Omega came out and celebrated with them. Hangman was standing in the tunnel. So yeah. Then we had the Elite Deletion match, and that was just awesome. It was awesome. Matt Hardy won. Obviously, it was the match that he made, but it was awesome. Inner Circle got involved, excluding Jericho and Hager. Private Party got involved, and then eventually they paid off the WWE stuff as well with Matt. If you've seen it on the network, the House Hardy Halloween parties, or whatever they are, I can't remember what they are. During that, Hurricane Helms got kidnapped. And that was just left there because it was meant to be paid off, but it never got paid off. And they paid it off here, which was great. It turns out Gangrel's the one that had kidnapped him, and Hurricane's there like, what the hell? It's been 2 years, and Matt just sort of went, it's a long-term booking, and I had to get to AEW before we could finish it. And he went, oh yeah, fair enough. What's up with that? So, yeah, and then Gangrel and Hurricane started brawling, and they enjoyed the fight as well. It was cool. In the end, Matt Hardy won. And it does feel like the end of the feud, which is great. There were fireworks that went off, and Matt was just shooting them at Sammy, and yeah, it was awesome. Skarsgård got involved. We saw the chair of wheels. I don't think we saw the mower of lawns. But Neo was there, and Matt showed up in a monster truck, and it was just awesome. Definitely worth checking out. So then we move on to MJF with Wardlow versus Chris Jericho, and MJF won. MJF won. I wasn't sure if they were going to do a whole MJF loses and Jericho just sort of goes, well, you put up a hell of a fight, so we'll let you in anyway. But MJF and Wardlow are now part of the Inner Circle, which is cool. Another really, really good match. Jericho is obviously great. MJF is also great. The finish came when Wardlow gave MJF the Dominant doesn't ring, which then he distracted the referee so he could use it. Hager threw in Floyd, and then they just sort of went, oh, you're going to hit me, I'm going to hit you, blah, blah, blah. MJF did the whole Eddie Guerrero thing where he just dropped. Referee turned around, Jericho's got the bat. So then they're arguing, and MJF rolls him up and hooks the tights and gets the win. And then, Jericho says, okay, welcome to the Inner Circle. So, yeah. Then we move on to the main event. And it was the I Quit match for the AEW World title, Moxley versus Kingston. Really, really good match. Again, just was. And, they used thumbtacks, barbed wire baseball bats, just a whole lot of shit, and Kingston eventually quit. After Moxley got the barbed wire around his arm and locked in the Bulldog choke. So it was, it was just really, really good. Post-match, Moxley tried to help Kingston up, and Kingston wouldn't let him. And then after Kingston left, Omega came out, and they just sort of stared at each other, and Omega congratulated him. And that was the show. Really, really, really good. In terms of predictions, I got 7 out of 9. Pretty good. I won the predictions. Too bad there wasn't a belt on the line. The next Tabletop Tuesday, right? Here's what I want you guys to do. Tune in, and in the comments, ridicule Jack for not putting his belt on the line. Just give it to him. He didn't put his belt on the line at Power Struggle, which that will be coming up. The thoughts from a review for that will be coming up. I didn't mention that I got them all right on that, but I did. So I would have won the belt there and defended it here, and I would have retained it here as well. So just make sure to let Jack know that he's a pussy for not defending his belt and letting me be a 15-time predictions champion. That's that. Just make sure you do that. But that's been it for thoughts and review for a pay-per-view. Like, share, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, follow the Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. Links to those are in the description. And other than that, thanks for watching, goodbye, and good night.